Good morning, loves. It's Ostara this morning. I'm so excited. The solar eclipse is already slightly underway, so Danny and I are going to go out to the back garden with some tea and coffee and just soak up the energies and talk about all the old superstitions that surround solar eclipses. And we already woke up talking about the Mayans and their kind of like encyclopedic knowledge of astronomy and how they like kind of recorded it over thousands of years and all of that stuff. So yeah, we're going to go down to the back garden and get a little bit inspired. Exciting. So the solar eclipse occurred and it was really awesome. It got really cold, which I forgot actually how cold it got last time we had a solar eclipse in '99, and the birds went really quiet, which my boyfriend reminded me actually before we actually came out here that was going to happen. He said, it gets really eerily quiet and the birds kind of think it's night time and stuff. Apart from the wood pigeon. Wood pigeons don't give a fuck. Wood pigeon just carried right on. But the other birds were really quiet, and my boyfriend and I went quiet, and actually it was really just it was a humbling experience, and I think that's part of the reason so many people love it, and especially so many pagans love it, because it's just it's easy to forget and to not feel like you are on a rock that's hurtling through space. It's really easy to forget that, to kind of lose sight of that. And actually, when something like this happens, for me, it's like it's a direct channel that plugs me into the transpersonal immediately. It's like very sort of, it's kind of a nice sort of quick and guaranteed delivery of transpersonal experience, and it makes me kind of think I'm just quite a sophisticated monkey that's clinging to a rock that's hurtling through space in a clockwork universe that's doing something that I have no control over, that kind of includes me and yet kind of eclipses me completely, excuse the pun. So yeah, there's that to it. And then Danny and I, as the sun started to come back into view and it got lighter and warmer, which it is now getting warmer, we went in and watched the news footage to see some of the really sophisticated cameras. You can see like the diamond ring, which is what occurs when you can see the corona, the atmosphere of the sun lit up, and the sun, as it starts to peek through, as the moon passes through, the diamond ring effect occurs when a stream of sunlight hits through a valley on the moon. Which actually scientists can map quite accurately when that's going to happen, because we know kind of like every crevice and valley on the moon at this point, so they can tell you exactly when a diamond ring is going to occur and if it occurs on either side. So the diamond ring was really cool to see, and the corona was really cool to see. And then Danny started I asked him to explain more about things like electromagnetic gravity and stuff like that, and that was really interesting. And then we talked about how we can get the mechanics and the fundamentals of what's going on and understand kind of the processes and what's involved, and we can understand, what kind of influences and triggers and atmosphere and environment had to occur, like what were the ingredients for the Big Bang, for example, but we don't know why. The why is behind everything all the time. What is the hand upon the machine? Where is the man behind the curtain? What is actually kind of going on? So yeah, my camera kind of died. I was just thinking about really how the why is still kind of a fundamental question mark that hangs over our heads, and that was interesting to me. Some of the news reporting was really interesting. It was kind of intriguing to me how some people describe the event as disturbing. I know people use different words to mean different things according to kind of their consciousness and how they translate the word itself, so it really is all about semantics essentially. But for me, it was interesting how the word disturbing came up. Like, quite a few news reporters said that they'd been stood with people, observers who said that they thought that the phenomenon was quite disturbing. Other words we used as well, like weird and eerie, which, I can completely forgive and appreciate. But disturbing for me, I thought was kind of a sad way to view the phenomenon. I mean, maybe in the Middle Ages, if you didn't know anything about it and you were living in a village in the middle of buttfuck and this just happened, it just occurred while you were like tilling your field and you imminently thought that the apocalypse was coming and you got down on your knees and you prayed, like, then it would be disturbing. But nowadays, you've got Brian Cox on the TV explaining everything to you, and you kind of you know well in advance that it's going to happen, and it can be exciting and it can be humbling and it can be that more kind of exciting variety of experience that is just truly you know, helps you to tap into what's really going on here and how we are swirling in space. And it can be exciting and it can be unifying. You know, it can unify you with your higher sense of purpose or consciousness or existence or whatever you want to call it, and it can unify you with each other, and it can start amazing conversations, incredible conversations that a lot of people would not find themselves having at 9 o'clock on an ordinary day. You know, people in their offices, you know, people talking to each other over lunch later today. You know, these things are going to occur. These conversations are going to occur about how each other felt and what exactly the phenomenon was, and, you know, why are there these kind of ridges and bumps of light around? Oh, well, you know, that's the geography of the moon, and we've mapped that over the aeons, and, you know, just talking about the science of it and about the emotion of it. And so that's exciting too, is that it creates these little ravines of conversation and communication with each other. So I thought disturbing was a little much. I guess maybe the disturbing part of it might come in if you don't often think about things like this, or if you kind of, you know, I think a lot of people are kind of quite jarred by transpersonal experience, especially if it catches them off guard, especially if they weren't expecting to feel anything and then they did. I think that can be quite jarring, and I think it can also probably make people think about things like their own mortality and, you know, how on a long enough timeline we are just a speck, we are just a momentary lapse of reason. Oh, Pink Floyd came in there. I don't know what happened. But yeah, I think it can make people think about things like that. And I think that can be, for some people, quite a scary thing. But I struggle to think of days when I don't have thoughts of that nature. So for me, I suppose it's just a chance to deepen those thoughts and a chance to kind of come back to what I enjoy thinking about anyway, whereas for some people I suppose it is rather kind of imposing. Those kind of thoughts are quite imposing and overarching and can kind of interrupt someone who doesn't really like to think that much about death, the universe and everything kind of thing. So I guess that's maybe why the word disturbing was used. I'm going to go in now and prepare myself to do a journey for an energetic shadow map for a client. I'm going to do that, and then a little bit later on I'm going to be doing some business mentoring with a client. I like to schedule shadow maps and related kind of shamanic / journeying work on events like this. So full moons, new moons, sometimes I schedule waxing or waning depending on what's appropriate and what comes through to me as I do my altar work to try and get a good sense of when's appropriate. But to schedule something like an energetic shadow mapping process when it's also Ostara and it's also a solar eclipse, that's just beautiful. That's 100% pure power. That's like me really, really charging it. So I'm really excited about that. And then I'm going to go to Danny's mum's for the weekend later on. So it's been good. It's been a beautiful morning, and I'm really, really glad that I did it. And I'm glad that I could be a part of it. It's a great privilege, and there won't be another one now in this country for about 11 years. So yeah, got to see my second solar eclipse. So good times. Hi guys, I'm going to go through my tea box today because I quite often get asked to go through and talk about my tea collection. Now, one thing I will say is that my tea collection changes all the bloody time. The same things are not in there all the time. Sometimes I'm like missing key staples and stuff. Oh, hang on, I've just remembered a couple that are in the kitchen actually. I've got a peppermint on the go at the moment, a Twinings peppermint. I've just come back from my run, so if I sound a little bit breathless, that's why. Whew, okay. Let's start with Earl Grey. I love Earl Grey. Earl Grey's been a staple for a really long time. It would be very unusual for me not to have Earl Grey in my tea collection unless I'm just about to go out and get some more imminently. The only problem with Earl Grey at the moment is I drink it with some kind of milk. I don't like it without milk. My boyfriend likes it without milk and just with a slice of lemon. Very Russian of him, but I can't get on board with that. So I need some milk of some description. Now, I'm trying to stop drinking soy milk because I know that it's crappy for the planet and such. So I have switched to oat milk. Unfortunately, the oat milk that I currently purchase that's available at the shop near me curdles in tea. You know, when you put it in tea, it tends to curdle and it's really disgusting. I've tried rice milk, but it is too thin. Almond milk isn't available near me, and I can't even remember whether or not it curdles in tea at this point in time. That's how long it's been since I've had almond milk. So it's just about finding the right thing, really. It's about finding the thing that doesn't curdle in Earl Grey. So I haven't actually had an Earl Grey for quite some time now, which is bloody tragic. I also really like Lapsang Souchong, or Lapsang Bidley Bong, as I like to call it. Don't have any of that at the moment. Need to go and get some more of that. Another staple that I pretty much always have is Aztec Choco Spice, which is now just called Choco Spice, which is a Yogi tea blend. and I don't have any of that at the moment either, but I thought I'd mention it because I love it and I do normally have it in the collection. Intensely Beetroot Burst. I did not buy this. A friend of mine bought it and put it in the kitchen, and I thought to myself, what? And I actually posted a picture of it on Instagram, and people were like, please tell me what that tastes like. I cannot imagine for a gosh darn second what that tastes like. It's very earthy. It's very nice. It's got a slight, like, inoffensive and very delicious, like, vinegary, earthy taste to it. It's really good. I would definitely recommend giving it a go if you are, you know, if you like beetroot, if you enjoy it in your salads or anything like that, and you really like to be adventurous with your tea. Intensely Beetroot Burst, mate, get on that. Two friends of mine from Australia came to stay with us for a while, and they purchased this while they were over here. So it's obviously what they like to drink back in the land of Oz. Obviously it's a South African tea. I have not tried it yet. I've not really sort of had a go on it yet, but I will do. And probably let you know in a later tea related update how that goes. Right, now we're on to the big box. I'm going to start with the Char Brew. I purchased this for myself for my birthday. It's the pineapple and vanilla blend. I love the Char Brew. I think it's really good. The only criticism I have about the bloody Char Brew is the length of the string. Let's compare. I've just opened up one of my Pucker Love blend to show you the difference in string size. That is the Char Brew, that is the Pucker. There's no excuse for that. Every single bloody time I make a Char Brew cup of tea, I have to hold this so it doesn't go in the cup. And more often than not, as soon as I start drinking the flipping thing, it goes in the cup anyway. And if I try and wrap it around the handle of the cup, it doesn't infuse properly because it just sits at the top of the cup. So essentially, that's the only criticism I've got with these tea bags. They're really well made. They're absolutely, you know, they give a gorgeous taste, but the string really needs to be longer. I must get in touch with Char Brew imminently and tell them of my displeasure and disdain for the length of their string size. I did have another blend of Char Brew, and it was either kiwi and strawberry or kiwi and raspberry. I can't remember. I think it was kiwi and strawberry. Obviously, if you can't tell already from just listening to the sumptuous sound of that flavour, it is all gone and I need to buy more. This tea is pricey, I would say. I think it was about £4.15 for 15 tea bags. So it's definitely a treat. It's definitely not something I would say is a staple in many people's tea cupboards, really, because it's just because it's so pricey for what it is. But I really love tea and I love having that treat and I love trying new stuff. So for me, it was definitely worth every penny. That actually brings me nicely on to the Pucker blend. Pucker Love is the name of the blend, and this is a heartwarming touch of organic rose, chamomile and lavender. I featured this in one of my vlogs or video scrapbooks, as I'm now calling them, before. I've opened one now, so that's just the excuse I need to drink it. I'm nearly out of these. I will definitely be getting some more. I did not expect to like this blend, but I really did. Okay, it's time to go Twinings crazy. So another one from the Intensely range. So I've got Intensely Beetroot Burst, which is going on in the kitchen at the moment. Also recently purchased Intensely Blackcurrant and Rhubarb. Now, I'm not sure what the difference is with Intensely. I guess it's just really bloody intense. I don't know. And it is, you know, it's very, very lively and very sweet and lovely. So these are my Twinings at the moment that I've got. I've got the Invigorating Peppermint, which I'm currently drinking, Oranges and Lemons, which is very nice, very sharp and zesty. But can't drink too many of them because they leave you feeling slightly dehydrated. They've just got a really zesty, really citrusy flavour to them, those tea bags. So they do leave one feeling sometimes a little bit dry in the mouth. Strawberry and Raspberry, which I just replaced, so it's not even open yet. My boyfriend and I love Strawberry and Raspberry and Strawberry and Mango from the Twinings range. They're just really lovely. Licorice. Now, I'm not a fan of licorice. I actually tried the Pucker blend of blackcurrant and licorice, and that was gorgeous, and I'm planning on rebuying that because I thought that was just lovely. The licorice on its own, I'm really not a fan. I don't like the aftertaste. I'm not a fan of licorice sweets, and I never have been. So this was something that a friend bought round for me on the strength of how much I love the licorice and blackcurrant from Pucker, but I must report that the licorice Twinings, not so much a fan. I might leave that in the kitchen because I have a friend who regularly comes over who loves to drink all kinds of different teas, and he cannot wait to see what is the latest thing I've got in my collection. So I might leave that in the kitchen and see if he quite likes it, because I know he liked the blackcurrant and licorice. Apple and pear, there's only one left of these. My boyfriend was crazy for these. I may rebuy. I'm not so sure about the apple and pear. I'll have to have a think about it. I did enjoy it, but I'm not sure that it was flavoursome enough for me. And I think actually with apple and pear, what I will say about it is it's more of a winter tea. Now that I'm coming up for summer, I'm not sure I'll be as keen on it. And this was a present that my friend purchased for me, the salted caramel green tea, which is kind of a running joke because we just love everything salted caramel, and it's pretty much one of the only things that knocks me off of the vegan bandwagon occasionally is that bloody salted caramel chocolate, or salted caramel cake, you know. So she got me the salted caramel green tea, which was kind of a tongue-in-cheek thing. This smells like salted caramel dessert. It does not, however, taste at all like salted caramel dessert. Do not purchase it if you are hoping for that sweet, delicious caramel taste. Now, for a lot of people who don't drink a lot of tea, it might seem somewhat unrealistic to expect a tea to taste of caramel or chocolate, but that isn't true at all. In fact, the choco spice from Yogi tea tastes utterly delicious. The aftertaste of it is so bloody sumptuous and chocolatey. So it's definitely not out of the question to create a blend of tea that tastes of like spicy chocolate or delicious caramel. You know, you can get those flavours. And I often recommend, actually, if you've got issues with, you know, with liking chocolate a little bit too much or having too much of a sweet tooth, to actually purchase something like Yogi Tea's Choco Spice, because it gives you that taste and it gives you that feeling of having treated yourself, but without the calorific content and without the sugar crash. So I often recommend it. So I was quite surprised that the salted caramel green tea didn't taste at all of salted caramel, and it really was rather disappointing, I must say, because it smells so good, but it just tastes like green tea. So sorry to disappoint people, but unfortunately it was a bit of a letdown. Of course, I still drink the Twinings caramel green tea occasionally because, you know, green tea is so good for you, and I do need to put more of it into my routine. Heath and Heather is another tea brand that I can definitely recommend. These are lovely. These don't come in individual packages either, which is better for the environment. They just come like that, which I like. So I've got 3 from Heath and Heather, which I pick up at Holland and Barrett. Echinacea and cranberry. This is great for when you're feeling a little sick or under the weather. Pomegranate tea, absolutely lovely. I can never say pomegranate. Pomegranate tea. And green tea with jasmine. So yeah, these 3 are really lovely. Funnily enough, I've only got 2 Yogi teas at the moment. As I said, I'm out of Choco Spice, and the only ones I've got at the moment are ginger orange with vanilla, which I've actually had this pack for quite a while now. I go through them slowly, but I do really like them. And Women's Energy, which I pretty much always have, that is a staple, and that is hibiscus, angelica root and ginger. I absolutely love it. I absolutely love this tea. And my friend who comes around who loves tea, he loves it too. So it's not just for women. Okay, I have 2 incredible treats. I've kind of gotten almost to the bottom of my tea box now, and I found 2 things that have made me so happy. I've found a char brew strawberry and kiwi. So I've got one of them left, which is an incredible treat. And I found a bloody Choco Aztec Spice from Yogi Tea at the bottom of my tea box. Yes, I love it when that happens. I found gold. I found treasure. Fantastic. Bucka Detox is the latest one that I've purchased. It's in my collection, and that's a clean fusion of organic aniseed, fennel and cardamom. And that is so crazy buzzing, lively, vibrant. Oh my gosh, it's absolutely gorgeous. Well worth it, absolutely. Got this when I was like on the losing end of kind of coming out of feeling sick, and it was really, really good. So yeah, that's pretty much the tea collection. I've got some sort of own brand Sainsbury's lemon and ginger in there, a little bit of rose hip, chamomile, of course, because I'm bloody English, you can't do without it. And some Darjeeling, which, you know, I'm not even a fan of Darjeeling. It's just there because I tried it once, and so I'm going to need to think about who might want that. Oh, here we go, pucker 3 ginger. I've still got a pucker 3 ginger as well. So again, with the treasure, digging for treasure at the bottom of the tea box. So yeah, I'll be having that at some point. So yeah, that's the tea collection. Thank you so much for watching and being geeky enough about tea to be interested, for those of you who've requested this. Hello, I'm out in my garden having a cup of tea in the morning. I'm drinking peppermint and licorice, which is lovely, to set my day off in the right direction. I wrote a blog post recently basically it's about permission to be yourself, accepting that there are different sides to you and different facets to your character, and different, that you are nuanced and you are complex, and you are not just one defining characteristic, or one state of being, or one mood, or one belief, or one opinion. You are like a lot of those things kind of amalgamated together, and that's what makes, up the whole you. And I'm very firmly of the belief that too many of us are worried about contradicting ourselves, or we're worried about how different parts of our character are contradictory in nature, and how that makes us disingenuous or fake in some way, when actually what's going on is not contradiction, it's paradox. And if you're a human being, then you are going to be paradoxical in your nature. Several different things can be true about you, but they can't all necessarily be true at the same time. That's the nature of paradox. When you boil it down, that's the meaning of the word paradox. It's when two or more things are true about you, or true about a situation, or true about a thing or relationship, but they're not true all at the same time, So, I think it's important to allow ourselves to be paradoxical, and to own that part of our identity, and to stop beating ourselves up for being different things at different times, or for having different beliefs in different relationships, or actually notice that from an observational standpoint. Don't judge yourself for it and berate yourself for it, or fear it, which I think a lot of people do. Actually just adopt that observational perspective, go up into the crown, and see yourself from God perspective, from the perspective of cosmos, and just appreciate your complexity and understand it, and see it for what it is. See it as a sign that you're human, not a sign that you failed, or a sign that you're fake, or a sign that you need to change yourself, but just a sign that you're having a human experience, and it is sometimes going to be complex and nuanced, and that's okay. You can give yourself permission for that to be the case. And I think more and more, increasingly, with my work in spiritual counselling, and just connecting with you guys and with people on my road as a traveller in this life, I'm realising that a lot of people are beating themselves up for kind of not, honouring one distinct version of themselves, or a lot of people are trying to build a distinct one-dimensional version of themselves that really is never going to be realistic, and is just going to mean that they're shoving loads of stuff into shadow that they really needn't be. They can embrace everything that is the case about themselves, and that's actually okay. I'm kind of realising more and more that that's something that people need to adopt and get right with, is to drop this idea that you've got to be this one overarching definition of yourself. And sometimes it is going to be other people pressuring you to be that way, and it's your responsibility to recognise that that pressure is there, and to recognise that you can drop it, that you don't have to be enslaved by it. And sometimes it's just you enslaving yourself, And there's that to consider too, is that you're actually just putting yourself in a box, and maybe other people want to see that more nuanced, more kind of intricate version of you that you hide away, that you kind of compartmentalise into different bits depending on who you're with and what conversation you're having, or who the other person is to you. We actually put ourselves in a lot of boxes, and we actually shut ourselves away into a lot of crap that we don't need to be shutting ourselves away into at all. Hello gorgeous. I've had these docs since I was 15 years old. They still fit, and they've got the same laces that I put on when I was, I don't know, maybe 17. They're Vans laces. They're absolutely mashed up now. I love these old things, my old faithfuls. Okay, darlings, duty calls. I've got to go in and work. It's been really nice spending this morning time with you. I normally don't spend it with anyone, but today I kind of felt called to talk, so yeah, I'm going to whack this in the vlog with the Ostara stuff and see what else I can put in the vlog. Just sort of bits and pieces really that maybe wouldn't make an entire video, but are still kind of, I guess, worthy of mishmashing together and uploading. At least in my estimation, and the Four Queens is essentially my creative process before it's anything else, so I quite enjoy doing the vlogs. I wouldn't say I put any amount of dedication to the point where I feel like, oh, I have to make a vlog because it's been a certain amount of time, or I have to be filming this because it's at least remotely spiritual and people will need to see it in a vlog. Like I don't put that pressure on myself. The vlogs are literally just little bits and pieces that I feel like filming in the moment, that kind of don't belong on their own in my estimation. they're kind of not gritty and meaty enough to get that much off the bone with, but if you put them together they could make quite a interesting sort of hours worth of footage for at least me to look back on and look through and see what I was thinking in the moment. So yeah, I guess this will go in a vlog, and I guess you'll see it when you see it, and I'll see you when I see you, and love yous for now. I just had this really funny moment where I was walking along in my vintage tweed jacket and I walked past a red phone box and I was admiring a small rural cottage while sipping on a herbal tea, and I thought, this is my most fucking English moment now. I'm really, really English now. I'm a walking stereotype. It's finally happened. I'm in my usual spot. I've been quite busy. I haven't been out for a couple of days properly on a proper walk, and my back is feeling the pinch, so I am going for a wander. I'm actually waiting for my new running shoes to arrive so that I can go for light jogs as it gets a little bit warmer here, and then hopefully by the time the autumn comes, I'll be one of those people who runs in the winter, who runs in the slush and the snow and the sleet and the rain. I'm hoping I'm gonna kind of get that addicted to it, because lately I've been really, really feeling called to run. Like, I'm just obsessed with the idea. I've got this massive inclination to run, and I have no running shoes, so I'm making that happen. I'm in my usual spot where I sort of talk about stuff, wander around and talk about stuff. And today I thought of talking briefly about my YouTube channel, because it's kind of become like quite a major creative outlet for me, and lately there've been a few videos going around about for sort of in aid of newbie witches, and just saying welcome to the community, and if you start a channel we'd love to have you, and like just basically kind of dispelling a lot of the kind of tension around having a channel. And because I think I've come across a lot of people, especially people who are younger than me, but not exclusively, but quite a lot of people who want to start a channel but they're nervous to do so, you know, like they don't think that they will be accepted or respected, or they think that somebody will come along and like tear them down, or you know, they're worried that they have to kind of say everything perfectly or do a specific thing, and if they don't then they're going to get shit for it. Sometimes occasionally people are rude to me. Now what I would say is rude is, I mean, I suppose again I'm pretty English, so I guess some things that are not considered to be rude in other parts of the world are considered to be rude by my standard. But I mean stuff like, you know, you look like a slut in that red lipstick, or thank God you're not wearing that ugly red lipstick. Though I've had both of those comments, I find them rude. I think it's just like, well, you know, first of all, you're not here for what I look like, you're here for what I'm saying, surely. And secondly, like, if you don't like it, you keep your opinion to yourself, right? I realise that's not universal. I realise there are some cultures where that doesn't happen, but it sure as shit happens in my culture, and I'm sure most people know that, you know, I'm sure most people know that to me, that would feel quite like an imposition. I've also had stuff like, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, who the hell do you think you are, like teaching or whatever, you don't know the first thing about chaos magic, get a clue. But then I click on their channel and it's not as if they are giving everybody some amazing glowing alternative version of events or teaching them in a much better way, and I would definitely be able to concede that some people can probably teach this shit better than me. I was kind of a reluctant teacher of this stuff in the beginning anyway. I was far more inclined to tell people to go and read Phil Hine or Peter J. Carroll, because I kind of didn't have a lot of faith in my ability to explain these concepts well, and certainly not with brevity. I can't explain what I want for fucking dinner with brevity. So, and sometimes, you know, people need that when they're being taught. So I always accepted that I might not be the best teacher or the most straightforward teacher, but it always surprises me that the people who say that I'm clueless and I don't know what I'm fucking talking about are always the people that don't have any videos on their own channel kind of explaining stuff and giving that alternative, you know what I mean, instruction, if I'm so bad at it. So like there's a lot of stuff like that, and there's a lot of, I get some weirdness, like I mean, if you look at my comments section, it's always just fucking amazing. Like I feel like I've been really fortunate because I've put myself out there in a very authentic way. I've connected with people who are very authentic in turn, and I've connected with many like-minded people with many similar stories to me, or they want to inspire me as I've inspired them, and they'll make that effort to do that, or just people that are polite who say thanks, that was useful, cheers. Like, you know, I don't really get a lot of shit, but you know, I've only ever had one that I can remember, a comment from a Christian who said I was going to hell. There might have been a few more, but the thing is, a lot of them go into spam. This is the thing, I'm talking about like comments that actually got published by YouTube. Obviously there's lots of weirdness in spam, and if you do start a YouTube channel, don't fucking look in the spam, okay? There's nothing in there that you want to see, trust me on that. I'm talking about your inbox spam, by the way, not your comment spam. Always look in your comment spam, because normally what's happened there is somebody's posted you a link to something really interesting that you will want to see, but it's been posted in spam because it's got a link in it. So always check your comment spam, but don't check your inbox spam, because it's just full of people trying to get you to do a sponsorship with them, so they can have some money out of what you're doing, or like, not that there's anything wrong with that necessarily, but like, there's a lot of that. So if you're not interested in a sponsorship, which I'm not, then don't look at them. And also there's lots of people that just have the same copy, and it's like 35 lines worth of copy, and it will say something like, you are hellbound, or alternatively, interestingly, I get a lot of, you fucking Wiccan scum, this isn't real paganism, which is really odd because I'm not a Wiccan and have never professed to be a Wiccan. So that, for a kick-off, shows me that they're not listening and they're not watching. But there's a lot of that, and those people go into spam because they are like, their account is clearly been used to spam 30 channels with the same message in like half an hour. So that stuff goes into spam. There's some real weirdness in spam. There was one guy that I had in spam who was trying to convince me that paganism was a national socialist religion, i.e. like, you know, that the Nazis were true pagans and that pantheism is truly a fascist ideology. And I was like, whoa there, honey. Woo, you need to lay off the drugs. Some people take acid and it goes to some really great places, and other people take it and that happens. It's like, it's risky, it's a risky business. But hey, belief is a tool, you know, do what you feel. Do what you feel, but that isn't really my bag necessarily. I don't think we need any more fascism in the world somehow. Anyway, this is all very long-winded. What I'm trying to say is, when you put yourself out there online, when you put yourself out there on any public platform, when you put yourself out there on the internet, occasionally you'll come across people who think that it's very, very important that you know how they feel about your new hair. And they don't feel very good about it. They're sorely disappointed that you decided to cut it all off, as though you are their property and you should have gotten expressly written permission from them or something. And there will be people who tell you that you're wrong, and there will be people who want to rip a strip off of you. Like, that's par for the course. But as Aristotle said, you know, there's a way to avoid judgment. There's a way to avoid criticism. Do nothing, say nothing, be nothing. And that's always stuck with me. I've always thought to myself, if you do something, if you say something, if you be something, no matter where it is, online, offline, in your community, on the internet, doesn't matter. You will be open to judgment, you will be open to criticism, but you've got to ask yourself, is that enough of a reason not to fucking go ahead and do it if I want to go ahead and do it? And it's really not. And you know what human beings do quite a lot of the time? We take that one shitty experience that we had and we blow it up out of all proportion. And we forget to look at the 555,000 positive experiences we had. We all do it, okay? It's not just you. I do it as well. We all do it. We all have that little sore spot inside of us where we're like, that was shitty what that person said, or why would that person try and make me feel that way? And we take it and we stew over it and we stew over it, and it's crappy and it feels bad. Oh look, an elbowed. Hello. Yes, I am talking to myself. It's weird. I'm talking to myself, but I'm also talking to 8,000 subscribers. It's really odd. It feels weird. It does basically feel like I'm talking to myself. But I feel so connected to you through the fucking lens. I don't know how that works, but obviously when people look at me, I'm aware that I am just talking to myself. But it doesn't feel like that to me, so I get really impassioned, and then I walk straight past somebody and they're looking at me like I'm literally nuts, and it's like, oh right, yeah, I forgot I am talking to myself. oh, this is definitely going in a vlog. This is definitely not going to be a video on its own merit. I'm sure you guys will agree with that creative decision that I've just made there. Splendid. Anyway, yeah, we all have this tendency to hype up the one crappy thing that happened and like downplay all the good things that happened, or we just forget the good things that happened because, you know, they that one crappy thing comes in and like cuts you down, and it quite often happens when you're already feeling a bit vulnerable actually, or when something shit's already kind of happened that day and you feel a little bit like already, and then somebody comes along and gives you their opinion that's completely unnecessary and is said in a very kind of nasty way, or to put you down, or it's not even an opinion about what you've said, it's just an opinion about your looks, or, you know, my chaos magic video that got quite a lot of attention, had so many great comments on it, and some people said I don't agree with the way you said that, and that's fine, or I do things a different way, that's cool too. But some of the comments were like really sexual really sexual, guys. There's really a dark, shitty, misogynistic undercurrent running through the chaosphere, and that has always really been a disappointment to me. I'm trying to bring the estrogen to it, people, so if there is going to be any of that like real dark, like repressed divine masculine energy, I'm not quite sure how to get it out. It's in there. Maybe I'll just tell you to crack your mouth. Like, that's not what I want underneath my videos. And yeah, that stuff is disappointing and it's crappy and it makes me feel a bit like, oh, that's horrible. But, you know, I do think essentially that everyone's a teacher. Every experience I have has taught me and will continue to teach me as I go through life. That's the way it is. That's the way you can choose to take it and see it and turn it to your advantage, and that's the way I've been choosing to do for like a number of years now. And I just want to say, like, most experiences that you have will be really good. Most experiences will be nice. And yeah, okay, there will be people who will overstep your boundary, or there will be people who clearly are evidently trying to rip a strip off of you for real, and that's for their own reasons. But you will learn from the experience. You will get to learn lessons with regard to how you handle it, how you feel about it, how quickly you bounce back from it, you know, and keeping your pure intentions for why you started a channel in mind, you know, to meet the like-minded, to contribute to the community, to express yourself. You know, I started a channel because I was a lurker for a really long time on several witchcraft and tarot channels, and I really felt eventually like, I want a voice in this discussion. This is really fun, it's really happening, I want a slice of it. I want to teach what I know about, you know, my first videos that I made were about negative cards and how to reinterpret them. So I was already thinking about what's the best way I can contribute to this fabulous community. How can I, like, give of myself? And nothing on earth was going to stop me from doing that. And yeah, there have been some difficult experiences, but mostly it's been glorious. And you know, you have to know where your boundary is before you start as well. Like, you can never blame yourself for the shitty behaviour of other people. Like, don't do that. But if you notice that there's a pretty established pattern of you feeling like people are a certain way with you, or a certain thing is happening with you, maybe you need to tighten up your own boundaries a little bit, you know. Like, I have a feeling that my boundaries are pretty fucking tight. And they always will be, they always have been. My mum always used to say to me, you could be walking along with your arms by your sides, but your aura is saying that. Your aura is saying, no, I don't know you yet, hang on a minute, not so fast. And it's true, that is what I'm like. And I think that's probably helped me quite a bit. Hello, you're in the middle of one of my video scrapbooks. So I think the segment that you just watched was a little bit of a ramble about YouTube and the nature of being on YouTube, and, you know, people kind of being worried about starting YouTube channels and my own experiences and stuff. And I think I was saying then, because it's quite a long time ago that I filmed that, but I think the gist of it was that it's an overwhelmingly positive experience, and that you can't allow yourself to amplify the negative stuff. Like, there is some negative stuff that comes with the territory of putting yourself out there online, absolutely there is. And it would be really naive to kind of tell yourself or to allow yourself to think that there won't be, but the vast majority of stuff that I've experienced in terms of the engagement I've had with people, the conversations that have been started, video responses that have been made, and just basically getting to know other people and their perspectives, it's been really positive, and it's been positive for me as an experience putting my stuff out there online. It's like kind of helped me to understand more about the way that I learn and the way that I communicate, the way that I teach, the way that I counsel my clients, for example. And it's pushed me, it's kind of allowed me to leave my comfort zone and kind of think about how I want to absorb information and how I want to use it and how I want to improve in that sense. So all of that stuff is open to you, all of that stuff is available to you. And one thing that I would say about the nature of any community on YouTube, be it the pagan community or any community that you want to be a part of or that you feel like you want to kind of have a voice in, one thing that I would say without any shadow of a doubt is that community is kind of really, it can get quite semantically null. Like the concept of community is really based on your perception of it, you know, and everybody will think about a community differently. For me, I kind of think it's sometimes dangerous to talk about a community as, for example, anybody who deems themselves pagan and makes videos about paganism. There are going to be some people on YouTube who make videos about paganism who in no way reflect the values of the community that you kind of seek to uphold, and don't even, you know, in some cases won't even seem to have that much of a community mentality. There will be kind of situations that will arise that will make you feel like this is other to what I think a community is, and in that sense I'm not sure whether or not this is just a community and I'm part of it and it's gone sour, or whether or not maybe my idea of a community has to be kind of more small scale and more about who I personally align with and speak to. And you'll have that journey, that'll be part of your journey. One thing I would suggest is just keep on task with your pure intention for why you wanted to start a YouTube channel in the first place. Enjoy it, have fun, don't engage with things that don't feel positive to you. Use your intuition, always check in with your instinct. Always use your instinct to navigate your way around the connections that you make online, and you know, spend time in places where you feel expansive and you feel fulfilled and you feel inspired, and don't watch videos or spend time in places online where you feel like you're being judged, or where you feel like things have gone a bit gnarly, or where you feel like things are generally negative, you know. Be honest with yourself about where you spend your time online and what you're looking to get out of the YouTube experience, and quite often what you put into it is what you'll get out of it, and what you align yourself with is what will be your experience, you know, and the experience will flourish in that way for you. Okay, so I'm going to have a little look on my feed and just take a look at my subscriptions and give you guys some channel recommendations. These are some people that I love to watch: tarot people, witchy and pagan people, new age people. I'm just going to go through my feed and tell you what I am checking out and what I really enjoy. Check out the links below to subscribe to anybody that you haven't heard of that you'd be interested in checking out. Eric Silvermoon, I love him. I really just want to hang out with Eric. I fangirl over Eric a little bit actually. Check out his channel, he's so informative, he goes really in depth, he talks about his own journey and things that he's discovering, gives tips and advice, he's amazing, he does readings. I've actually interviewed him for my Tarot Spotlight feature, I'll also link that interview below. Read it, he's amazing, his ideas and his perspective is just so illuminating and enriching, so definitely check out Eric Silvermoon. I love his channel and I love his take on things. The Rook's Hollow and the guy behind it, Cam. I love Cam, I think he's amazing. I've loved seeing his journey evolve and just getting to know him, and I first engaged with him maybe like 2 years ago. Was it 2 years ago? It was ages ago when I first started doing videos, and he's just grown so much since then and explored so much about his spiritual path, and it's really nice that he's back on YouTube, so check out the Rook's Hollow, he's really awesome. He's just done a summer solstice blessings video which is lovely, I'll check that out after I'm done scrolling. Jude Direct has done the summer solstice greetings video as well, which is really cool. I really love Jude, I think she really brings that crone energy to the proceedings. As far as I am aware, she deleted quite a lot of her videos recently. She does Book of Shadows prompts, which she's still putting up. But yeah, anything that she cares to talk about with regard to the craft or with regard to spirituality or life in general, I'm always really interested. I love Ivy Moon Illuminator. She really brings some interesting ideas to the table, and I love the way she presents her thoughts. I just think she's got a really beautiful spirit. I just love watching her. Ember Honeyraven is amazing. Just love her vibe. I love the energy that she brings. Joey Morris is amazing. Again, the vibe, the energy, just the way that she approaches things, her passion. I could watch both of them talk for ages. I love Windora 3. I think she's wicked. I'm always really interested to see what she's talking about and exploring in her path. And she's one of the people that I'll quite often have on my watch later list. Like if I can't if I'm scrolling and I really don't have time to watch, I'll make sure that I click watch later and check it out later when I've got time. Yeah? Oh, is it here? Josh Nelson is on my radar. I'm just going to quickly mention this one before I go and eat my food because it's arrived. Yes, occasionally I do like to order food, and tonight I have ordered food. I'm really ill and I'm just not in the mood to cook. I want comforting Chinese, so I'm going to chow down on my pak choi. But before I go, Josh Nelson, he's really awesome. Check out his channel. I realise this is going to be quite a long segment. I'm going to go and eat, and then hopefully if I've got some light left I can carry on. That Chinese were right nice. Okay, let's continue with scrolling my feed for gold. Scroll for gold, as it were. New Age Hipster. Who else loves New Age Hipster? She's just so cute. She does weekly readings, deck reviews and stuff like that. She's awesome. Check out Vix at New Age Hipster.
This is Taliesin McKnight, and today I'm going to teach you how to do sugar spells.
Taliesin McKnight is really awesome. He has such an informative channel, and I love his southern drawl. That accent drives me crackers. He teaches like hoodoo and voodoo, hermeticism, the Kabbalah, tarot. Really informative, really consistent content, so definitely check him out if you're looking for that kind of stuff. Eva's House of Spirit is a great channel. I really love her perspective. Again, she has a brilliant accent too, so definitely check her out. I love Gemma at By Feather Branch and Stone. I'm always really interested in hearing what she has to say. Oh, Indie Tarot Girl's done a mystery tarot unboxing. I love Indie Tarot Girl, I think she's amazing. She's another one of my favourite tarot channels, and Carrie from Happy Fish Tarot. Happy Fish Tarot is a favourite tarot channel of mine. I don't know if it's Costa Yoga or Costa Yoga, I can't remember the pronunciation, but I love this woman from this channel. It'll be like the last link in the down bar. I just love the way that she approaches her spiritual practice and her yoga practice, and she talks about all kinds of things, how to deal with jealousy, how to deal with the ego, overcoming addiction, life advice, but from that very spiritual standpoint. So I really love her, and I like to kind of keep up with what she's doing. Okay, that was me just scrolling my feed for a little while, telling you guys what I like and some of the people that I watch. I watch many people. I normally dedicate like half a day, once a week, to just watching videos, relaxing, catching up on things that I've put on my watch later list. Definitely utilise your watch later list. If you're scrolling and you know that you don't have time to watch a 20-minute video at that precise moment, but it really appeals to you, put it on your watch later list, and even if you don't get round to it for a few weeks, you will find it there, and it will be like, you know, content that you consciously selected that you knew at the time that you were going to enjoy, and you'll be like, oh yeah, I'll put that on my watch later list. I do that with other stuff as well, actually, that's not tarot related. I just watched a Vogue documentary called The Editor's Eye that I found on my watch later list from ages ago, and it was so informative and cool, and I was like, oh, I didn't even remember I had this on here. Right, I'm feeling a bit groggy, and I need to start replying to some emails and wrapping up the last reading I was doing and just generally working. So I'm going to round things off by filming my shuffle. People have been asking me lately to film my shuffle. I did actually describe my shuffle and what I generally tend to do in a blog post that I did, but some people have said that they actually want me to film it, so without further ado, this is how I shuffle a tarot or oracle deck. Okay, so I dovetail, then I dovetail again, then I jumble my reversals up kind of thing, and then I dovetail for a final time. So this is how it works. I cut the deck in half, dovetail once, cut again. Notice as I'm cutting, I actually turn half of the deck like that. That feels right for me. I like to make sure that my reversals are refreshed and changed up each time, and that the energy keeps moving in that way. So the next thing that I like to do is I hold the deck with one hand, and then I just make little cuts in the deck, and every second one I turn the other way. Like that. I just love that. That feels right. And then cut the deck for a third and final dovetail. Again, twisting one of the parts of the deck upside down. And that third and final dovetail, and you're ready to go. I sometimes, but very, very rarely, feel this desire to change it up and go overhand like you do with an ordinary deck of cards. And I do that sometimes. It's actually really hard to do it in this position because I've got like the camera over my chest, so like the camera's right in front of me, so it's kind of a bit difficult to do it like this, but I'm normally really good at it. That was interesting to those of you who've been wondering. Much love.